Hello everyone, today I am going to talk about the immigration reform proposals and its impact in the US workers. But first, let me give you a brief definition and background of this topic. By definition, it describes every proposal created to protect, maintain, or increase illegal immigration while decreasing illegal immigration in the country. To illustrate this idea, I listed 5 different bills or proposals that have been um, stated throughout the time. The first one is the Gang of the Eight. The second one is the Dream Act. The third one is the Border Security. The fourth is Guest Worker. And finally, Economic Opportunity. Now, let me explain you one of them to be more specific. Let's talk about the Dream Act. The Dream Act it is also known as the Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors. It was proposed to grant temporary conditional residency with the right of a work permit for immigrants that satisfy certain qualifications. This proposal also gave a path for a permanent residency for these immigrants. Uh, this act has been proposed or introduced several times, but unfortunately, it hasn't been approved for the majority of both houses. This is a clear example of the process that a proposal or bill needs to accomplish to become a law. Now, let's take a look of the background. The biggest immigration reform was in 1996 to 2009. It made it illegal to recruit or hire legal workers in the country. However, it did not provide any legal way for blue-collar workers or employees to enter or remain in the U.S. After that, two other proposals were stated. The first one was Border Protection, Anti-Terrorism and Illegal Immigration Control Act of 2005 and Comprehensive Immigration Reform Act of 2006. These proposals did not pass the conference committee, so they didn't become law. Now, let's take a look of the immigration reform proposals from two different perspectives. The first one is from the President Obama's perspective. His main statement was something for everyone, and this will affect his approach to the different immigration reform proposals. Additionally, he wanted to create a border and interior enforcement. In other words, he wanted to decrease the number of illegal immigrants that were coming in the country and also have a bigger control on the overstay visa cases in US. Another idea of him was that he wanted to create a path for legal status to illegal immigrants. Finally, he supported the DACA program, which stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and this allows some illegal immigrants that, after being brought to the country as children, can receive the opportunity to become eligible for a work permit. This differs to the DREAM Act because it did not give a path for a citizenship for these immigrants. Additionally, in 2014, Obama announced his intention to expand the DACA to cover more undocumented immigrants, but this proposal was resigned. Now, let's take a look of President Trump immigration reform. His statement or idea is Buy America, High America. And as I said before, with the Obama's example, this statement will affect the approach that President Trump have towards the immigration. Trump also wants to reduce family immigrations in US. Additionally, he wants the determination of the program DACA, which have brought many different problems in his administration. Also, he wanted to remove the lottery visa, and as we all know, he created the border wall system between US and Mexico. Currently, we're crossing for a pandemic. Let's take a look of the reforms made in the COVID-19 framework in US. The following reforms are only the ones that affect the US workers. The first one is the closure of the USCIS office. It impacts temporary workers, international students, and trainees. Additionally, it impacts the DACA and TPS holders, and moreover, it produced financial issues for the USCIS. Second, he suspended the premium processes for worker petitions. It impacted hundreds of workers and businesses. Third, he created a student visa flexibility. He allowed the remote learning or telework, but in July of 2020, he stated that the F1 or M1 holders must leave the country if the school that they are attending is entirely online. Fortunately, this proposal was resigned after so many university suits. Additionally, he restarted the process for H2A seasonal farm workers and H2B seasonal non-agricultural workers. He waived the in-person requirement check for employees' IDs for remote workers. Additionally, he allowed PERM labor certifications to be issued electronically, as well as other different necessary documents for some workers. Besides, Trump waived the in-person visa interviews for certain H2A and H2B visa holders. He also waived the biometrical submission data in order to renew the authorization of work for some workers or some immigrants, and this also includes some immigrants that are part of the DACA program. Additionally, he extended the date for those responding for numerous kind of USCIS requests. He also canceled 35,000 H-2B visas, which affect so many businesses and workers. Furthermore, he also allow more visas for healthcare workers in the country, and also gave additional flexibility for some H-2A agricultural care workers, and they could stay in the country 3 years. Besides, he removed certain limitations which will allow some H-2B visas non-agricultural to stay in the US. These were some of the changes or proposals that President Trump have made during this COVID-19 pandemic, and I believe he will make more in the future. Now, let's take a look of the importance of these immigration reform proposals for the human resources practitioners in US. Each HR practitioner should be prepared to face and embrace any immigration reform in the workplace, providing and supporting their employees in the best way. Additionally, this is important because these reforms will help HR to avoid legal penalties, such as sponsoring work visas, also eligibility and validation of the work permits, and policy compliance in each company. Now let's move on to the conclusion or takeaway of this presentation. The immigration reform proposals differs from administration to administration, as I mentioned, and state. Second, immigrants are beneficial for the country and the economy if it is managed in the best way. And finally, HR needs to adapt to any immigration reform and make the best for their employees, as I mentioned before. Thank you so much for your time. This is all, and here I have the list of some reference that I used to make this presentation if you wanna take a deeper look. Thank you so much again for your time. I hope you enjoy my presentation. Thank you.